This is Levels of Geeks podcast, bringing you action movie reviews from across the decades, plus box office numbers and insight like never before. And now your host of Levels of Geeks podcast, Alex and Friends.
What's up, everyone? This is Nate, and welcome to episode number 18 of the Levels of Geeks podcast. I'm joined by my co-host,
Alex Figueroa.
And this is where we tell you all about all the action films that have ever been made. We're going to slowly get through all of them. It's going to take a long time, but we're working our way through action movies. This month, Christmas action movies. So obviously you've been following along with our Terminator franchise, and then we're doing Christmas set or themed action films. We have already covered Cobra. We've covered Reindeer Games, and this week, we have another one for you called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. So this is a 2005 film?
2005.
Written and directed by Shane Black, Alex's favorite. He wrote Predators, or The Predator, whatever, the new one. We're going to be going over that. We're going to give you, let me give you our categories before we get into the box office numbers and the Rotten Tomato scores. You guys already know we got lead character, main villain, action, storyline, overall, total, and then, of course, for these special Christmas episodes, we got the Christmas meter.
Oh, yeah.
Where these movies can get anywhere from one Jingle Bell all the way up to a Frosty the Snowman. You know what I mean? It could be anything. It could be anything in there. We don't know. We have no idea what each other gave this movie or what we thought about it. We literally just said, hey, we both watched it, and then we come and talk to you guys about it. So before we get into actually scoring it, Alex, why don't you let the people know if this was a successful movie as far as box office is concerned?
All right, so this is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang from 2005. So this is the box office numbers. Let's get right into it. Domestic, $4 million.
Oh, my gosh. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's the lowest yet.
Oh, yeah. International, $11 million. For a worldwide total of 15 point something million dollars.
Oh my gosh.
On a budget of $15 million.
Broke even.
It broke even, and then of course with DVD sales, but again, it could have been a flop anyway because you got to give the money to the peoples.
Yeah.
So.
I think this could be one of those like sleeper movies that might have made money afterward, because according to the old Rotten Tomatoes, this baby got an 86%. So very well reviewed by the critics. I think it's one of those like more like cult movies though. You know, like I have friends who like it, but like this is not one of those movies that people talk about, which is weird because Robert Downey Jr. is in it. Val Kilmer's in it. You know what I mean? Like there's some star power here. But yeah, I mean, it didn't make any money. So sounds like a big failure, but we're going to let you guys know if it's actually a failure or not, because we're about to review this thing for you. So, Alex, you know, when I host, you get to talk first about the lead character.
Oh, yes. I go first in lead character. So the lead character in this is Robert Downey Jr., which he plays Henry.
I thought it was Harry.
Harry. There you go, Harry.
Harry.
I saw it today and I keep forgetting the damn name. It's Harry.
I just know because the girl at one point called him Harold. So I was like, oh, his name is Harry.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, he plays Harry, and he used to be, when he was smaller, he was a magician. like he wanted to be like a Houdini type thing, and then he became a thief. And by mistake, he ran into an acting audition and then became an actor.
You know, when you describe it that way, it just sounds totally weird.
Sounds bad. Like it sounds like when you think about it, I'm like, oh, this sounds really bad. And then this is actually a novel of the movie's based off of a novel that Shane Black took and then he made into a screenplay. Look, Robert Downey Jr. in this movie is so hard for me to get into Robert Downey Jr. movies now, because every role he does he's like Tony Stark's. Like, it's really hard for me. I don't know if you've seen this movie when you do the review, but I felt like I was watching Tony Stark's adventure. You know, like I was just like, he was sarcastic. He had all the aneurysm, like the whatever it's called. Like he was mannerisms of Tony Stark's in this movie. So I was just like, oh man, this is really rough to I mean, but his character was believable. I was engaged with the storyline. It was a murder mystery, which I love murder mysteries movies.
Yeah.
So this was definitely up there in terms of murder mystery. Val Kilmer was actually really good as the gay private detective.
Gay Perry.
Gay Perry. Which he was actually really good in that role. And then his girlfriend was the wife of
Michelle
Ethan
Monaghan.
Hunt. Yeah, in Mission Impossible. She was really gorgeous.
I like her.
There's some boob scenes up in this piece. You got to see some boob action. But she's very attractive. She was really good. She was very believable. But this movie is basically on Robert Downey Jr. So with that, I gave him a 4 out of a 5 because I had fun with Robert Downey Jr. Yes, he did have the mannerisms of Tony Stark's, but it was still enough to engage the charisma that you needed with this character. And it gave it to me.
Yep.
I was engaged. I was like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. So I gave this a 4 out of a 5.
Hey, man, I'm right there with you. I agree. You know, the funny thing is, so yes, I also 4 out of 5 for me too. I also gave him a 4. The funny thing is, so this came out 3 years before Iron Man. And really, if you look at Robert Downey Jr. outside of maybe like Chaplin, the Charlie Chaplin movie, for the most part, this is kind of like his thing. He kind of always acts this way in a lot of movies outside of Tropic Thunder, where he's actually like playing a role. And I love him in that movie. He's hilarious. But like, he's not doing Robert Downey Jr. in that movie. All the Iron Man movies, he's Robert Downey Jr.
And even U.S. Marshals, he wasn't Tony Stark's. Like, he was a serious actor in that one, too.
Right, yeah. Unless he's playing serious. If he's in anything more lighter, he's pretty much this. That's just his thing. He talks fast, very witty, quick. You know what I mean? So it works because they kind of highlighted his strength as an actor. He was funny in this. I really liked him. He keeps getting his finger cut off, which is hilarious. This is a dark comedy. It's dark.
Very dark.
But I love dark comedy. I love comedy in general. If you guys don't know, we like to joke around here and laugh. I love comedy. It's always been like right up there as maybe my favorite genre. But I love dark comedy. When you can when you could cut someone's finger off multiple times and make it funny multiple times, that's a good time for me. So
they put the battery in his nuts.
Yes, they electrocute his nuts.
And then Val Kilmer,
squirt gun.
Yeah, Val Kilmer just kept antagonizing him. And he kept getting, he's like, stop it!
And Robert Downey Jr. does a great job in those scenes where he has to be like getting injured and like, oh my gosh, he's so funny in this. I also gave him a 4. The only thing that keeps him from a 5 is sometimes he talks so fast that I
don't know what he says.
Yeah, I didn't know what he said. He mumbles a little bit here and there. So it's not like the greatest performance, but it's so good. Like, it's so Robert Downey Jr. And I like him. Like, I just like him as an actor. I like him as a person. I like watching him work. So good, really good role. I'm going to give him a 4 as well.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, this takes us to the villain. So here's going to be the absolute weakest part of this movie. It's a 1 for me because there is a villain, but you don't like, even though you so there's a certain point where they figure out, like they know who's the villain, right? But he's not a presence in the film at all. Like, he's off screen pretty much until the very end of the movie. And then when he does show up, he just gets shot. Like, pretty much, he's like on screen for 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and they get shot and killed and whatever. So here's the thing. You guys are going to have to understand. This movie, like Alex said, it's more of like a murder mystery, black comedy. There's bits of action. So we included it, in the podcast. Plus it's Christmas time. But there's going to be some lower scores on some things that did not affect my enjoyment of the movie, but we have to follow our criteria. So judging by our criteria, I got to give the villain a 1 because he kind of sucked. Like, and also the plan was a little convoluted. Like, what he was trying to do was a little convoluted. Like, I didn't understand till like the end what they were trying to do. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to solve this murder and I'm following along, but it was a little confusing. The writing is very dense. And so the villain doesn't really appear until the end. And it's like, well, it's just like a guy, like he's a in the Hollywood type guy, but not a big presence, not very memorable. I don't even remember like his name or anything. So I'm gonna give him a 1.
You know, it's funny. I agree with you on that. I did not know what was his main. I mean, I knew his main goal was to get rid of the body because of the whole whatever. But my thing is, you're right. He shows up in the party in the beginning because that's where you see him. He's in the party with the young chick. Then all of a sudden, at the end of the movie, but that's a huge gap in the storyline because things are happening to Robert Downey Jr. and his girlfriend and Val Kilmer, and you're like, what is going on? But you're right. He does not come out. He's like kind of lame. He was an actor that wanted to get rid of evidence. It was very, I'm not even going to keep beating this horse, but yeah, he was horrible. So I agree with you on this one. I gave him a flat 1. He was not good at all. Yeah.
I wouldn't give him a 0 because he existed. You know, like if there was no villain, then we got to give it a 0. There was one. He's just not very strong. So yeah, as far as an action movie villain, terrible. 1.
Yeah, he's horrible. All right, so let's get right into action scenes. That's me.
Yeah.
This movie had not much action scenes, but again, this is a typical murder mystery style of movie, so you're not going to expect Mission Impossible style of action or 007 or, you know, Expendables type action, like guns blazing, bombs going off. So with that, I had to keep that in mind when I was scoring this, but I have to be realistic also because these type of movies, you can't give them high scores when they don't give you much action. So with that, this movie had certain awesome action scenes. The ending had some weird, I did not like the ending much with the action. Him hanging with the hand and then he starts shooting it was like so it did it was hilarious. Like he became an action star at the end of the movie, but it had a lot of dark comedy action and I enjoyed it. I thought it was really funny. But look, with that said, I gave this a 3 out of a 5. I thought it was a really good balance of action and story where this movie is clearly a murder mystery and Val Kilmer does a great job helping him throughout that. So I give him a 3 out of a 5.
Yeah. So, you know what? So far, we're right on the same page. Now, I know for Reindeer Games, I lowered it because there's not a lot of action in that either. Yeah. But also, what was there? I wasn't particularly like fond of how I didn't think it was like shot super cool. This one is similar in that there's not a lot. You get like a chase scene through a park where, this guy's trying to run down Val Kilmer's character and the girl's trying to get him. And there's like a little shootout a little bit. You get some, scuffles, some punching and some, there's some shootings. The last finale is like the most amount of action where you get the car chase through LA or down in Hollywood. You get the car chase with the van and the coffin in the back and you get cars flipped over. There is action in the end, but not a ton. But I like that they sprinkled in like some humor to it, I like when he's hanging from the thing with the arm and then he just like falls right on top of the car. You know what I mean? Like that's coming down as he's shooting at it. Like it was fun, but I agree with you. Everything you said is right. Like there's not a ton. It's not that kind of movie, but because we're an action movie podcast, we do have to look at the action. Yeah. I also gave it a 3. I thought there you go. Sure, it's not a lot, but what's there? Good time. I had a good time. So I'm right there with you with a 3.
Yeah, storyline.
Okay, so the story is very good. For this type of movie. Yeah. Now, it's not perfect. I'm not going to give it a 5, but it is very good. Again, my issue with it and what keeps it from being a 5 is I love a mystery. I don't want to know. I want to follow along with the movie. They're trying to solve it. You're trying to solve it. You know what I mean? I hate where movies are too easy to solve. Yeah. But on the other hand, I hate when they're so confusing that I don't know what's going on and this movie does that a few times. Mm-hmm. Like there'll be moments where I'm like, well, I don't even know who they're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who that guy is. Yeah. I don't know. And they try to explain, but they're talking the dialogue is so fast. So that's going to hinder it for me from being like a 5. I still gave it a 4 though, because I love a good murder mystery. The comedy works. The script is really good. The dialogue is really good. It's sharp. It's funny. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 4. Would have been a 5 if it was just a little easier to follow while still being, like a good mystery where you don't know exactly what's happening. So yeah, 4 for me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree with everything you said. For me, in terms of gripe, I don't think it's a 5. I agree with you on that. But certain things that I felt like with this murder mystery, I felt like the story was draggy in certain places because we really don't know where we were going. Like it is just yapping and yapping. And I'm like, okay, but let's get to the next scene. You know what I mean? Like there were certain sections in the movie that was just like, I felt like it was way too long because we're not getting enough information to solve the movie. Because again, I agree with you. I love murder mysteries because I love that brain game of trying to solve who's the bad guy. And that's the thing I love about this. Because, I mean, me and you, I bet we've seen thousands of movies that we sit down and we go, he's the bad guy. And then right the minute the movie starts.
That's the worst.
Yeah, that is the worst. And my wife hates it. Like, she hates it in the theater when I go, that's the dude. And she's like, why do you do this? And then we start laughing. But I like murder mysteries a lot because of that. I love to figure out who's what. And I felt like this movie did great elements of that. But then, again, it falls flat in, like you said, the script. And I felt like certain scenes were way too long. Like, way too long. So, but, again, I thought it was really good. So, I agree with you on this. I gave the storyline a 4 out of 5. Yeah, I thought it was an excellent storyline to the movie. Honestly.
So far, we are on pace for what, the second time ever? We have the same exact score.
Might be overall, though.
Overall.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is going to be the tiebreaker potentially.
Yeah.
Only one other time did we have, right? It was just Terminator 2. Wasn't that the only one?
Terminator 2. Yeah.
So, all right. No, didn't one of the Bond movies? I think one of the Bond movies
we had the same total points, but not the same. Not in this. Yeah, everything else was different.
So far, we're in the same exact order. So let's see. You go first.
Yeah.
Overall movie. What do you give it?
So overall, I thought this movie was a fun murder mystery. I thought in terms of the chemistry between all the characters were very well. Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. had a good chemistry together. It was believable. Val Kilmer had a lot of funny moments, and this is a guy that played Doc Holliday, a drama movie, you know?
Yeah.
So to me, that worked. Robert Downey Jr. before Iron Man, so you could see the elements of Tony Stark's there. That chick, I forgot her name, Michelle
Monaghan.
She's gorgeous, and you can see why they picked her as Ethan Hunt's wife. She was really attractive, so you could see that. The villain sucked. That's Mike Kahn. Yep. I felt like the movie, certain paces of the movie felt kind of flat for me. But that's just nitpicking because honestly, you're gonna get some of that with a lot of murder mysteries. There's only a handful that I could think of that does drag, but it doesn't do it as much. Like Knives Out is a perfect example. It's a long movie, but Rian Johnson takes you through the paces.
There's a progression.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I enjoy that, and of course, we are going to have a month of murder mystery because now I'm locking that in our we try to figure out genres. We're locking it in. But yes, with that said, overall, I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 5. I think it's a really good movie in terms of in the total package. I think it's a great movie for murder mystery fans out there. That's
all right. Well, so the streak continues because I did not give it a 3. So we still only have Terminator with the same score. So I haven't even talked about Val Kilmer in this. You've mentioned him a few times. But let me tell you something. So I watched this movie today, home from work currently. I was like, all right, let me get these. I like that because I was able to watch them the day of recording. Right. Usually I watch these either the day before or 2 days before. So, but I was like, this is super fresh. I watched this like maybe 4 hours ago. I laughed out loud at so many of his lines. He just was so funny in this. And like, even in the credits, and hopefully no one gets mad, like our jokes, but in the credits, his name is Gay Perry. That's his name. Yeah. It's a signifier of his character, but also his name. I mean, I can't tell you how funny he is in this movie. You have to see it. Like, I didn't know Val Kilmer. I like Val Kilmer as an actor. He's great in Heat. He's great in Tombstone. I liked him in Batman. I like Batman Forever. Like, I like Val Kilmer. The Saint. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he's a cool actor. Top Gun. But I've never really seen him like do comedy per se.
Dude, you never seen Top Secret?
No, never seen it.
That's his comedy movie. Like, he leads the comedy movie. Look, we're gonna have a comedy month also in this podcast.
Yeah.
And I mean, action comedy, and that actually falls in line with action comedy because it's called Top Secret. So it's a spy
it's like a spy.
comedy.
Okay.
Yeah, so it falls in
Perfect.
that line. Yeah.
So maybe people will vote for it and I'll get to see it. But in the meantime, this is my first real like exposure to him as like comedy. Hilarious. The line, and I don't care. Maybe if I re-say it, it won't be as funny. But when I was watching it, like I cracked up laughing when he asked him like when Robert Downey Jr. when they come out of the car with the water, and he's like look up idiot in the dictionary. Do you know what you'll find? And then Robert Downey Jr. is like a picture of me, and he's like, no, you'll find the definition of idiot, which you are, or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
And it was so fun. Like the way he delivers it was so funny. I was cracking up. I laughed out loud at so many of like when they're in the car driving, when he's dropping him off at the hotel, and he just finds out he thought the girl's dead, and he like pushes him off the car so he could drive away. Like every little thing he did was spot on. I loved him. Michelle Monaghan, great. I've always liked her. I got a crush on her. I've always liked her. She's great in True Detective. She's great in Mission Impossible 3. I have seen her kind of do some comedy, and I like her. She's got a nice personality. You know what I mean? Like she has like I could watch her. I like watching her in movies. She's great and gorgeous. So yeah, she was really good in this. A complicated character. You know, I like all the characters. They're very well written. There's a lot of dimensions to them. Yes, exactly. There's a lot of layers. This is the kind of movie that you need to watch like more than one time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like not only for the mystery elements, but just the characters are pretty rich. Like I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 overall. All that to say, I gave it a 4. I was 1 point higher. And that's just because I enjoyed spending time with the characters. You know what I mean? Even when I didn't know what was going on, at least they were like making me laugh. Val Kilmer was making me laugh. She was making me laugh. Robert Downey Jr. I like the henchmen. They're like pretty stupid. You know what I mean?
Oh
like,
my God. Yeah.
Yeah. But they're like, I like the black guy. He was pretty funny. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I gave it overall a 4. So
remember, oh, sorry to cut you. Remember when they go and save the chick in the water, right? Yeah. And he goes, "Oh my God, there's a bullet hole in her head." And he goes, "Oh my God, let's throw her back." And he threw his gun in the water.
Yes. Like, bro, that part was so
He was
fun.
like, "My mom gave me that, you dip crap." Yeah. And I laughed so hard. I was like, this dude's an idiot.
That scene, and then the scene like in the car when they're driving right after are two of the funniest because Val Kilmer is just so sick of Robert Downey Jr. And this like in the first like 35 minutes or so. So you still got an hour of them like interacting and like I can't wait to see what else because he already hates him pretty much. You know? He's calling him an idiot. He says he's so stupid. He's always telling him to shut up. And the way he tells him to shut up makes me laugh every single time. He's like, shut up. Don't say anything else. He's just like, at one point, he just covers his mouth. He's like, you didn't get the role. You're not going to get the role. No, you're not going to get the role. He's like, don't say anything. And he just puts his hand on his mouth. Oh my gosh.
Remember when he punched it? What he did? I think he punched him in the face and his glasses
like, I know you want to
off.
hit me right now. And he punched him and then he tells him to pick him up.
Yeah. Pick up my glasses. And then he picks it up because he flinched.
Yeah.
That was
he lets him
funny.
punch him, but then he makes him pick up the glasses.
Yeah, that was funny.
Man. Yeah. It's one of the Val Kilmer, honestly, he steals the show. Like he steals the whole movie for me. So we're going to give it our total and then we're going to score it on the Christmas meter after because that doesn't get factored into the total. So I have 16 out of 25. Now, I know you guys are listening. You're like, 16? It just sounds like you really liked it. I did. It's just that because the villain was so bad and there's not a lot of action, it brought the score down a bit. But it was a 4, a 4, a 4, and then a 3 for an action and 1 for a villain. So 16 for me.
Yeah, I give it a 15. 1 point down. I mean, like I said, I only gave it the knock on the overall because of the way the delivery of the movie.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong. I'm not saying it's a horrible movie because honestly, I even wrote it down with Reindeer Games. Those are 2 movies I will be picking up to put in my collection because I enjoy it. And that's the whole thing about this iAction podcast. If there ain't no movies that we're watching and I don't own it and I enjoy watching it, I will be purchasing it to go in my collection because I don't have time to watch all these action movies. And this is a perfect medium to purchase these type of, I had never seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I'd never seen Reindeer Games until you brought those up. And I was like, okay, cool. And I enjoyed both. One is a murder mystery. The other one was an awesome, underrated heist movie, which again, I'm a sucker for bank heist movie or heist in general, which is another genre for the podcast.
You're gonna have unlimited. We have a bounty of possibilities, but yeah, like you said, I do own this one. So I was like, but I had not watched it.
Yeah.
Like, and I can't even tell you. So like, keep in mind, this is an action movie podcast. So when we review stuff that's got genre stuff mixed in, take it with a grain of salt because this is a great movie. I absolutely love it. Like a 4 is an 8 for me. It's an 8 out of 10 movie. It's just the action elements aren't the best compared to other action movies we do. But it's on to my favorite part.
Oh, the Christmas.
We're getting to the Christmas meter here. This is where we tell you, hey, man, does this get a Yule log or does this get a chestnuts roasting on the open fire? You know, say something different every time. I'm going to give this one 3 French hens.
Oh,
this is 3 French hens. I'm going to the song. I had to think about it. That's why I paused. 3 French hens, a 3 out of 5, essentially. You get early on, you get more Christmas stuff. Obviously.
Yes, you do.
As it goes on, they kind of they stop talking about it. However, Cobra, Christmas, and it was in LA, right? Wasn't that movie in LA?
Yeah,
too?
it was in LA. Yeah,
and it was just so sunny, and it was so not Christmas, right? This one did a better job of showing LA at Christmas time. Because it still wasn't snowing, it wasn't cold, but the Christmas, like at the party, there's Christmas decorations, there's Christmas lights, there's Christmas music. Anytime you can at least incorporate some music, they mention that it's Christmas at some point. He tells them like, hey, Merry Christmas, whatever. Second half of the movie, there's not much Christmas. So that's why it gets a 3. But they did try to incorporate it. Like it opens with him robbing a store at Christmas time.
Yep.
You know, you get the Christmas sign.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll give it 3 French hens.
That's very interesting because you know what I gave it?
What'd you give it?
I gave it a 3 swans are singing. Yeah.
Nice.
I gave it 3 swans are singing. Swimming. I'm sorry. 3 swans are swimming.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you. All the elements of Christmas were in the beginning of the film. You see it throughout the movie towards the end. Like you see it here and there because you see certain scenes. There's like trees or, you know, like Christmas like bulbs. But other than that, that's pretty much it for Christmas. So we haven't hit that 5 Christmas yet. The North Pole of reviews yet.
Maybe the last one.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's about Santa Claus. That's
Could
all
be.
I'm saying. It's an action Santa Claus movie. So both of us a 3. We got 3 swans a swimming and 3 French hens from me. So we got the birds. We got 3 of them. We got 6 total birds between the 2 of us. Yeah, it's more Christmassy than Cobra. Not quite as Christmassy as Reindeer Games. It's right in between the 2 of them. But if you are like me and you like to watch alternative Christmas movies, this is a good solid pick.
Yes, it is.
Good murder mystery at Christmas time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not everyone wants to watch Home Alone and the Santa Claus every year. So this is a good change of pace. Yeah.
No, I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, and then another thing is so far we have picked 2 Christmas movies that has not been a dud.
Yeah.
Reindeer Games was actually really good if you heard the episode. And then Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Yeah, it's been it wasn't a stinker. It's actually a pretty.
I only didn't
pretty
like
movie.
Cobra, but you know, I didn't grow up watching it. I had no attachment. I didn't really like it. It was kind of lame. However, you're right. 2 out of 3, and we still got one more coming. So next week we are going to be reviewing Fat Man, which is another one you haven't seen. However,
I never seen that.
I also haven't seen it. So this is going to be a first time watch for us. Mel Gibson as Santa Claus. I heard it's also kind of a dark comedy, so I'm looking forward to it because you know me, I love my dark comedies, but also there's like hitmen and contracts being put out on Santa. Like I'm looking, and I love Mel Gibson. So I'm very much looking forward
I love
to
Mel Gibson too, but everyone out there, do you think we're going to get the pissed off character? Because Nate loves pissed off main character. It looked like Mel Gibson is going to be a pissed off Santa.
Judging by the poster,
he looks pissed off.
it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If I get a pissed off Santa Claus, and he does a good job, which Mel Gibson, I have all faith in Mel Gibson when it comes to these movies. So I'm not doubting him.
Am I smelling a 5?
If it happens and it's done right, all I'm saying is,
why you went Macho Man on me?
You
went straight Macho Man. If it goes away,
he's got a good chance of getting the 5 out of 5. That's all I'm saying.
He went straight Macho Man.
Yeah, so hopefully,
so
hopefully
funny.
he does a good job. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that one. Maybe we'll see if it gets us we'll see if it gets us a Santa Claus. That's our 5 out of 5. Fat Man.
You is
Macho
straight
Man.
Macho Man. If he gets a little bit of Santa, it's gonna be a 5. Oh yeah.
That's right.
No, but
He's pissed off. I love it.
yeah, definitely. So again, guys, look, if you enjoyed this video, all you have to do on YouTube is hit that damn like button. Okay? And then hit the notification bell because we're going to have tons of action podcasts coming out, tons of action genres we're going to tackle, from Westerns, female lead action movies. We're going to be doing heist movies. We're going to be doing dark comedies, comedy, action, buddy cop action,
Sci-fi action.
sci-fi action. We're going to have it all, of course, on Levels of Geek Podcast. All you got to do is to hit that subscribe button and you're good to go. Or if you listen to us on the go, all you got to do is go search Levels of Geeks Podcast and you go, oh my God, this is it. Subscribe. And then, of course, listen to the podcast. Hit those ratings. Give us a 5 across the board if you like. Oh, no, go 3. I'm okay. And then give us some feedback on why you gave us the 3 so we can fix it for the next time when you listen to it and you go, wow, they actually took our advice and now they made it 10 times better. So with that said, all you got to do now is follow Nate on his page on Instagram, Nate Flicks Reviews on Instagram. And then, of course, he has a podcast with his friends that comes out weekly.
right.
And that's Netflix Movie Reviews over on Apple Podcasts. Anywhere you listen your podcast.
Listen, man, we're on all of them. Google Play,
There you go.
Spotify. A lot of people are Spotify users. We're on Spotify. Look up Netflix Movie Reviews. We're there.
There you go. And then anything Levels of Geeks. Twitter, Levels of Geeks. Instagram, Levels of Geeks. Hell, we even have a gaming channel now on Twitch, Levels of Geeks. And of course, just subscribe to YouTube. Help us out. Let's get that 1,000K, road to 1,000K starting soon. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for listening to us on Apple Podcasts, or if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. And again, I'm your host, Alex Figueroa, and that is
Netflix Reviews.
be awesome to each other and geek out.